Alright guys, welcome back to another true story animation reaction video. Today we are watching My Mom Visited Me After Being Dead for Years by Storytime Animated. Wait, hold on, my mind is going crazy. Like, how is this possible? This is about a nightmare, isn't it? I hope it is, because if it's not, like, how she came back to life? Okay, I'm leaving a like on this. I'm leaving all the links down below if you guys want to check out the original video. But anyways, let's get started. I don't know. We'll find out what this is all about.
In a small town in the middle of nowhere, there wasn't so much as a target, let alone anything interesting for a teenager like myself to spend their
so
days.
Small town, small city.
When my dad told me we would be going on a trip to a campsite, I jumped on board immediately. It would only be myself and my dad. My mom had passed away 5 years ago. You see, my mom had died whilst hiking in the woods. We never found her body, but a knife had been found at the scene with her blood on it.
She got murdered?
The police confirmed she had been murdered. They managed to catch the criminal who killed her.
I'm so sorry, man.
I didn't know who the murderer was, nor why they did it. I was still traumatized from it. I missed her every
Unless
day.
she faked her death.
But I was still beyond excited. I loved my dad, and I was looking forward to a weekend.
This guy is so enthusiastic.
But before I dive into this creepy story, make sure you like and subscribe.
Yeah, make sure you guys leave a like and subscribe
so you don't miss out on any more creepy content.
Road to 1 million subscribers.
We packed our bags, hopped in the car, and started driving. My dad never told me where we were going. He said it would be a surprise. I was just happy to get out of the house. We drove and drove for what seemed like days.
So where are they going?
Probably only a few hours. Eventually,
a few hours? That's a long time.
I wrinkled my nose as we stepped out of the car. The cabin where we were going to be staying at was all run down and derelict. I was surprised it was still standing.
Dad, I want to go back home.
Seemed infested with termites.
Yeah, I'm out of here.
Do we really have to stay here? I asked my dad. He ruffled my hair. Come on, sport. It isn't that bad.
Sport?
He chuckled. It
How old is this man?
Pretty bad to me, but I kept my mouth shut and we brought our things into the cabin. Then something strange happened. My dad was back in the cabin, unpacking our bags, and he asked me to grab a blanket from the trunk. As I made my way back to the car, I felt someone move behind me.
Who in the world?
I turned around to find this woman standing in front of me, eyes bulging in their sockets, staring me dead in the face. She was wearing what seemed to be an old jumpsuit, orange in color. Was she a prisoner? Can I help you? I asked nervously. She just kept staring at me. Then she opened her mouth.
Son?
Is he here? She asked
Who
in a shaky
is he
voice.
here?
I didn't understand her question, so I didn't reply. She took a step forward and
Is
I
that his
freaked
mom?
out. I sprinted into the cabin, shutting the door with a bang. I peeked out through the curtains, watching her cautiously. She hadn't moved from the spot. She was just standing there.
That doesn't look like standing. She's walking.
And I jumped. I whirled around only to find it was just my dad. What is it? He asked, worried. I explained to him about the young woman and how she was wearing the clothes of a prisoner. After my panicked story, my dad just blinked at me. He didn't seem fazed at all. Then he asked me where she was. I was confused, but I pointed out the window to where the woman was still standing. As he peeked through the curtains, I thought I saw something change in his gaze. He looked different to the man who had raised me. His cheery expression seemed to melt away into something unrecognizable.
What?
But then the expression disappeared and he turned back to me.
So
calmly.
confused.
Oh, don't worry about her, he said. My dad moved from the window, humming as he stepped
He's trying
into
to
the
hide
kitchen.
something?
Do you want something to eat? He asked me as if nothing had happened.
I was something's going on, guys.
Confused. Why had my dad not reacted the same way?
There's something his mom,
outside our cabin.
His dad is not telling him.
She could be dangerous. We really should call the police. But
said,
so far
"Is
as my
he
dad was
here?"
concerned, we were fine. I didn't understand any of it.
Wait,
This
is that
was
the
supposed to
killer?
be a nice holiday with my dad, but it had turned into something way scarier. And my dad was acting so strange. I didn't want to be a crybaby, but I wanted to go home. It wasn't until the next morning that things got really strange. I'm usually a late sleeper, so when I heard my dad get up that morning, I didn't think much of it. That is, when I looked at the
he's
clock
up to
and realized
something,
it was
guys.
6
He
a.m.
really is up to something.
That was really early for my dad. Curious, I followed him downstairs and glanced out the window.
Oh, he's
There
talking
was
to
the
that
crazy
lady, isn't
woman
he?
again, the prisoner. And I felt my jaw drop as I realized she was
This guy's a
speaking
drug
to my
dealer.
dad. They chatted like they'd known each other for years. My dad had some food with him, and he gave it to the woman. I couldn't believe my eyes.
That's not his mom,
was
right?
A prisoner.
He would realize.
What was my dad
he would
doing?
know.
When my dad returned, I decided to confront him about it.
Who's that
Why
lady?
are you talking to that woman? I demanded. Can't you see she's a criminal? My dad was shocked to find out I had seen everything, but he calmed down. Josh, there's something I need to tell you. What is it? My dad took a deep breath. I'm in love with her.
Huh?
I took a step back. What? I'm in love with that woman, he repeated. Look, after your mother died,
His
I've been
dad's
lonely.
a weirdo, man.
I met Sharon, and I fell in love. But she got mixed up in some bad business, and now she's on the run, and I have to help her. I have to.
What do you mean you have to? No, you don't.
Were telling me.
Go
Was
find
my
another
dad
one,
losing
man.
It?
Yeah, his
But
dad's
Dad,
crazy,
why didn't
dude.
you ever tell me about her? I asked. Because I thought you would get mad. I didn't want you to think Sharon was replacing your mom. But Dad, she's a criminal. I'm in love with her. Just do this for me, please.
No.
I hesitated. Logic told me this was a bad idea.
Terrible idea.
She was a criminal, for God's sake. But the look on my dad's face made me think again.
No,
Fine,
your dad's
I
crazy
said.
too.
My dad breathed a sigh of relief.
He's like,
I glanced at him. Is this
He
the reason
accepted
why
it.
we went camping? My dad looked apologetic. Yes, sorry about that, son, but Sharon needs me. I sighed.
No, she
Fine,
doesn't, man.
Fine, let's just
She's
get
using
through
you.
this. Dad went outside and called the prisoner, Sharon, in. She appeared at the door, and she glanced at me awkwardly. Then, to my surprise, she rushed in and hugged me.
Huh?
I've heard so much about you, Josh, she said. I patted her back awkwardly. Hello, Sharon. For the next few days, she stayed hiding in our cabin. Dad said we just needed to lie low for a few days, but then we could return back home and Sharon could come with us. I wasn't so keen on the
What?
idea, but I could tell it made Dad happy, so I
Hey,
went
whatever
along
makes
with
his
it.
dad happy, I guess,
Before
at this
long,
point.
the weekend was over, and we were
Oh, I
driving
thought that
back
was a
home,
police
but
car
this
for a
time
second.
with Sharon. I was unsure what Dad planned on doing when we got back to cover up Sharon's strange appearance, but I was sure he'd figure it out. For many weeks, we lived together pretty fine. If I was completely honest, I didn't like Sharon. She was way too loud and always made comments
Yeah.
about how messy my room was.
And then all of a
But as
sudden,
long as Dad was happy, I could
knock
put up
on the
with it.
door.
I started to get
911.
curious about what Sharon had done to get her arrested. One day, I asked her. Dad
Uh-oh.
was out in the garden tending to his plants, and Sharon
What
and
is
I
she
were
gonna
in the
tell him?
kitchen. Sharon, I said, can I ask, why were you arrested? Sharon smiled, but she looked so creepy to me. Murder. I felt my heart drop. What? Yeah, said Sharon casually. But
Wait.
don't worry, she deserved it.
What?
Who
She
did you
deserves.
murder? Sharon looked at me, and her eyes glinted dangerously.
Oh,
Don't
she
you worry
murdered.
about that.
She murdered
She
his
left
mom.
the kitchen and sat down next to my dad outside.
No
They
way.
looked so happy
No
together.
way.
I
No way. Oh my god, I just pieced it together. Wait. So this lady wanted to be with his dad. So she murdered her,
was
like his
terrified.
wife.
I was living with a murderer.
And not
I
just
was on
any
edge
murderer.
For the next couple of weeks, I had trouble sleeping.
Let's see,
and
let's
I
see,
always
let's find
left the
out, let's
room
find
if
out.
Sharon was there, but Dad didn't seem to notice.
Yikes.
Sharon noticed, and she seemed to find it funny by how scared I was. One night, I was sleeping in my room when I heard a noise. I opened my eyes, and there was Sharon, standing at my bedroom door,
Ooh,
just
he about to die
staring at me.
next.
I screamed,
She
and I
said,
turned
"You
the
know
light
too
on,
much."
But then she was gone. I couldn't tell whether I had dreamt it or whether it had actually happened. Then, another time, I was having breakfast when Sharon appeared beside me,
Oh, a
carrying
knife.
For some reason, maybe it was the sunlight shining through, but I thought I spotted blood on the knife.
Nah, that's
Turns out, it was just butter. I was starting to lose my mind.
he's going
I
crazy,
didn't want to tell my
overthinking
dad,
and
though.
everything.
He was so happy, and I was willing to suffer if it meant he would stay happy. Ever since my mom died, he had been so lonely. It was true. At least Sharon made him happy. For some reason, I started to dream about Mom.
Oh,
I don't know
see,
why,
I told you
but
guys.
I always dreamed about
It was
what
a
it would have been
nightmare
like
or a
if she
dream.
hadn't been murdered. I remembered she was so beautiful, with her lovely brown locks of
Wait a
hair
second.
and her hazel eyes. She also gave the best hugs. I missed her
Wait.
so
The same blue eyes. How does he not realize?
much.
That could be his mom,
I would
right?
cry on my own in my room just thinking of her.
If it is, like,
For some
he's just
time, living with
lying.
Sharon became the norm.
I don't know.
I kept to
We'll
myself
find
as
out.
much as possible, and honestly, I realized I was spending less and less time with Dad. Sharon always seemed to be with him, and I never got any alone time with my dad. I would never snitch on her, of course, for my dad's sake, but still, I wished for it more than once.
Oh,
I always
911.
imagined my relief at opening the door and seeing a policeman standing there, ready to take Sharon away and have everything back to normal with my dad. But then, I would feel guilty for thinking that way. Those were some confusing times for me. One day, Sharon and Dad went out for dinner by themselves. I was alone at home when I heard a knock at the door. For a fleeting moment, I thought it was the police, and I felt relief. I ran
could it
over,
be?
expecting to open to the grim face of a police officer. But instead, what I saw was someone I would never have expected
That's
to see
his
in a
mom, right?
million
No, this
years.
has to be a dream or
Standing
something.
there with tears
What?
running down her face.
Wait a
was
sec,
my
what?
mother. My mother.
This is real?
But no, that didn't make sense. She was dead. The police had confirmed it, and yet there she was, standing right
What?
in front of me. She was alive, risen from the grave. I was too stunned to speak. "Hi, Josh," she said. She stepped forward and crushed me in her hug. And I remember she always gave the best hugs, so I hugged her back. I was crying by this point, and I was
Aw.
mumbling incoherent words.
I
She
need
stroked my head,
answers.
And after about half an hour of tears and
How
loving
is
words,
this-
we finally stepped back into the house. I asked her to explain to me what had happened. Where had she been? Why hadn't she come back sooner? She explained everything, but as she got deeper and deeper into her story,
The lady,
my
right?
jaw dropped lower and
Sharon,
lower.
Sharon.
It was true she had been attacked on her hike 5 years ago, and it was true someone had tried to murder her, but they had failed to do so.
It was Sharon.
She had escaped them, but not without a bad cut on her leg. My mother showed me the scar,
Oh,
and I
wait.
realized that must have been as a result of that bloody knife the police had found at the scene. She said that she had tried to outrun her attacker, but they had captured her and held her captive for 5 whole years. That is, until her captor had been arrested and sent to prison recently. That gave my mother the chance to escape, and she came straight here as soon as possible.
Wait, so it's
"I
not
missed
Sharon?
you so much," she cried,
Well,
and we hugged again.
she's about to find out
We have to
that
tell the police. Can you
her
describe your
husband
attacker?
has a new
I
lady.
asked. She nodded, but then her eyes drifted up and her face
She
crumpled.
sees her.
I followed her gaze and spotted
Oh,
a picture
gosh.
of Dad and Sharon.
That's her.
It was a portrait of them smiling and hugging.
Oh god, they better get out
"That's
of there
her,"
before it's too
my
late.
mother said. I couldn't believe my ears. Sharon? At that moment, the door
No,
opened again,
no, the timing.
and there was my
Sh-
dad
oh,
and
shoot,
Sharon.
it's too late.
Sharon took one look at my mother, and her face reddened with rage.
Oh gosh, he knows.
"You!" screamed Sharon. My dad spotted my mom, and he froze.
What are you
"Darling?"
doing?
He whispered in shock.
Oh,
"Dad!" I yelled. "Sharon tried to murder Mom." "What?" "Sharon,
Oh,
what is
shoot.
going on?" Sharon scowled. "Fine, yes, I
It's
tried
been
to murder
exposed.
her, but that was only so we could be together." She
What?
turned to my dad. "Your stupid wife was in the way of us falling in love." I was
ooh, he was
stunned.
fuming.
"So you
Knock
tried to
her
kill
out.
my mother so you could date my dad?" Sharon
That's so
turned on me.
twisted.
"Shut up!" My dad walked over to my mom. He cupped her face in his
No,
hands
you.
and she smiled. They hugged while Sharon
Oh, she better
screamed
go
at them
grab
to
a knife,
stop.
man.
She told my dad to help her, to get my mom out of her house. But my dad turned around
Heck
slowly
nah.
and glared
I'm
at
gonna
her.
knock you out.
"You need to get out of our house," Dad said.
You
He
murderer.
put his arm around me and my mom. and
Yeah,
Sharon
I bet that
screamed
made
with
her
rage.
mad. Oh, she
Without
better
warning,
come back.
She ran forward, her hands poised
Whoa.
as if to strangle my
No,
mom.
no, no, no,
But
no, no.
my dad
Yeah.
jumped forward and knocked Sharon out
Whoa,
with one
I'm
swift
saying.
punch. We called the police, and
Sheesh.
Sharon was immediately arrested for escaping prison and for
Yeah.
attempted murder. I can now say she is safely behind bars for a very, very long
His dad should have
time.
listened to him in the first
My
place,
dad and
man.
mom got back together immediately. My dad was so sorry, and he felt as if it was his fault my mom had been attacked.
Hey,
But we all knew this was just a terrible thing, and none of us were to blame. I'm so glad my family is back together, and my mom and I are now catching up on all the years we missed together.
I'm so glad that this true story had a really good ending to it. At first I was like, wait, she came back to life from being dead? But no, turns out she was alive the entire time. So anyways, guys, If you guys have any other suggestions for other things I should react to, make sure you guys leave them down below in the comments. But other than that, I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.